Hi there, myself Molish. Did you know that Michelangelo, when he used to go to school, bro did not really care about what was being taught there. Instead, he looked to his church's sculptures and there he found his solace. And as a result, from his young years till the date of his death, bro just kept sculpting. And as a result, we have his famous works in the church, the image of God, which is one big mural in this church. What thingy's name I can't really pronounce. And there's a sculpture of Moses, there's a sculpture of Mary with Jesus in her hand, and there's quite a few others that are very impressive to my eye. So, like a normal person would, I went around and I drew them all. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you Michelangelo style tips for how to approach each body part when they're drawn or when they're being sculpted, if you like to be fancy that way. So let's start the video right here and right now. Chapter number 1, Faces of Men and Women. So Michelangelo's David is a sculpture that I'm going to actually show you first so that you understand how he perceives the face, such that he's able to sculpt it in a different way compared to others. I'm going to start with the neck. Now, when a lot of people draw the Adam's apple, they just shade the bottom part like this and leave the top part. But Michelangelo, since he's a smart dude, he goes around and he shades the top as well. Doesn't really shade it, but he sculpts it in a way where there's a hollow. And I want you to understand this like this. So when our neck is straight, this is our shoulder and this is our arms, right? But when there's an Adam's apple, a lot of people perceive it this way. That's not how it goes. It goes something like this and this. Now, I'm going to show you a more detailed version of David, because this one is a lot less detailed. No, not that. Yeah, this one. So this David is the one that we're actually talking about right now. Now, you'll notice that Michelangelo doesn't really draw it from the jawline out into a sort of a solid shape. He takes the face, lets the fat droop down, and he even gives David a double chin. And mind you, David has a six-pack. Not really a visible one, but he has a sort of a six-pack. So even in ancient Greek standards, he actually depicted fat, and that made the face look a lot more natural. So that's that. And that's just the first thing. The second one is the eye pockets. So you see this line over here and this line over here, right? They are the eye pockets. So there's a huge eye socket and there's a line of skin that folds above the eye and a line of skin that folds below the eye that allows the eye to keep moving in a pocket kind of manner without it looking very weird. So that is the second thing he depicts differently. The third thing I want to talk about, I'm conflicted between the hair and the ear and the nose. So I'm just going to say I'm going to add 3 more things to this list. Okay? So for the ear, here's how he draws it. So first, there's one felt swoop into the ear. And then there's another one extending out from the ear into the thing. And then there is a way into the ear. And then you have your outline. This is the basic shape of a Michelangelo ear. And I think I zoomed in enough so that you can see it well as well. So that's the first 3 things. The next one is how he draws hair. It's very similar to the traditional advice given to drawing hair. It's simplify into different shapes. And we all do this to a lesser level. And to make it seem like there is detail while still making the picture seem less chaotic than usual, his strategy is to use recurring patterns. So over here, here's curly hair. And he uses this pattern of hair quite a lot, I've noticed. And he uses extensions of this kind of pattern all over David's hair, so that you and I, we can't notice the difference when he's not doing that. So all of the hair locks look like this, and they're just put on top of a much bigger structure that you can break down into circles. I'll show you using this mortar David. Motta means bald in Tamil. So that's that. So it's just something like this. And here he has his braids coming down. And then he has his this thingy, pocket like thingy. And you see the idea, right? Yeah, I think you understand the idea. I don't need to go any deeper than this. So that were the few things that Michelangelo does a lot differently for the face. And for the nose, well, there is one certain thing that I wanted to emphasize, and that is this. When Michelangelo is drawing the nose, he makes sure that it's something like a sort of a chimney, and at the end, it does this sort of a shape. Do you notice what I'm talking about? And he actually lets the nose pockets take up some space as well, as you can see in this drawing and in this drawing. They're quite fat if you take a look at them. At the bottom angle of the nose, he understands it like this. So there's one fat extension that goes down and two pockets at the side that are like protrusions. Better nose automatically, boom, right? That's pretty cool, isn't it? And these were the first things that I learned from Michelangelo, and that was for the face. If you want to take a look at the female face, I think I have one example of Mother Mary. I do. Now, when you take a look at Mother Mary, her features are a lot different from the male guy. It almost always comes down to the female having a less broader chin than the male. And then, although they do have a chin, it's less broader. And there's a little more of a curvy structure with some fat. So the Greeks actually like to depict women with fat and men with lesser fat, even though there was. So it's in this fat range of 15% body fat for men. No, not 15 even, 20% body fat, let me just say. And for women, it was somewhere around that range or a little bit more. 25 to 20, let's just say. So this was Michelangelo's depiction of stuff. And from this drawing of Mother Mary, more than I learned anything about anatomy, I actually learned one thing, which is how to draw clothing folds. So if you guys want a tutorial on that, please let me know. So that is the face for y'all. And in the next part of this, we're going to be talking about the torso and the arms. Chapter 2, Torso and Arms. In Michelangelo's drawings, even the old guys get abs, and it is what it is, I guess, because it's his sculptures. He gets to do whatever the frick he wants to. And what he does here is this. He doesn't give the guy an 8-pack. A lot of us know that there are 8 ab muscles, right? But he makes sure that this guy only gets 6 and then a big belly at the bottom. You want to know why? Because most people don't really manifest the 8-pack that well. So instead, what he does is he covers it up with a belly. And you even also need to know that the packs are not as stretched out as you think they are. I used to think they go down to the groin a little bit, but apparently they don't after a little bit of research and after looking into Michelangelo's stuff. So for the torso, he also focuses on these chest lines where he depicts the chest muscles, the pecs. So if you go to the gym, you'll actually notice this. When you're doing inclined dumbbell presses down your chest, you will feel that some muscles in the center, like lines and threads, are being pulled in and out. And this is that kind of a muscle. So Michelangelo has depicted that. He also tends to depict a lot of things in a more smoother way than the usual public, and he adds some fat to them. And you can see this in all of the drawings, especially in this girl one. I think a lot of people might report this video for sexual content because she's nude in a way, but I've got to teach you, I have no other option. This guy draws or makes a lot of nude sculptures. So when we're taking a look at this old man over here, what we're going to see in his torso is what we've already seen, that's all. But in his arms, there's a certain way Michelangelo likes to depict biceps. So he gives the biceps some mass and he lets the arm extend from the mass. And then he goes back in and out. And voila, we have an arm there. And then for the shoulders are separate from the chest. and they connect with a sort of this shape. And this is a sort of a connector muscle, I believe, and Michelangelo depicts that over there. The next thing you can notice is there is a split in the arm. Usually, it's something like a line running over. Let me take that page. This is not that one. Shit. It's that in the picture of Moses. So I'll show that to you now. Oops, sorry. Yeah, this line over here. These two lines, they sort of depict the there is this bone that looks like this in your arm. So when stuff goes in here, there's a sort of a hollow. He's depicting that like this, and that's what I think he's doing. Right now, when we're taking a look at this drawing, we're gonna see that in the torso of the female, instead of thinking about the bobs as two balloons, Michelangelo thinks of it as one water packet or something. That's how he draws it. And when he draws it like that, it feels a lot more natural as well. And we just draw out of it like that. And there's this rib cage, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 ribs there. And in every other part of the female body, he depicts this hourglass shape in a nice and smooth way. And then he gives some fat to the female and he shows the fat folding. It's really a nice feeling to look at this. But I don't know, man. I'm a man too, so I get to enjoy this stuff, I guess. So next is arms for women. As I said, he just draws them like he does for men. And he separates the shoulders from the neck. And when they run about and tall, what happens is you can see that the arms, Michelangelo arms, they sort of have some fat. And that was for the arms of Michelangelo stuff. Chapter 3, legs and the lower body, which also includes the back, I guess. So for this one, I want to actually start off with this guy, this old grandpa's leg. And I want to actually start by saying this. Michelangelo draws muscle like they're attached to the joints. And in a way, I think that's actually the correct way to do it, because muscles are attached to joints. So when the muscle comes out of here, there's a little bit of fat from here, and he attaches that to the pelvic muscle. It's like a bag dropping. That's how he depicts muscle. And at the bottom, he shows the hamstrings, I guess. These hamstrings go and show that nothing. So he depicts this muscle like a bag, and the bag that connects to the pelvic joint. So it starts from the knee socket and connects to the pelvic joint. That's first thing. And then the second thing is this thingy goes from the knee joint to the hamstrings, or it is the hamstrings, and it goes back to the butt. And that's the first thing. There's also a sort of like a bicep-like depiction of the calves here, and that's because this one is compressed. And since this one is relaxed, the calf extends for a much longer distance and has a less bigger peak. That's one more thing. And I noticed something else when he's depicting legs. Let me show you that as well. It's that in this one, I guess. So look at this. So when Michelangelo is drawing a leg, there's this sort of bicep-like separation of the calf, and then there's the center middle bone that goes down, and then there's the second bicep-like separation. You see that, don't you? And this is the hamstrings. I don't know how on earth some guy would have this big of an abductor muscle, but I mean, it's his choice, it's its drawing, he gets to do whatever the frick. And yeah, that was the basics for the legs of Michelangelo. That is something I found he did differently. Right now, we're going to take a look at David's back. And from my study, I found that Michelangelo does 3 things a little bit differently here as well. Actually 4, to be honest. Now, we're going to start with these 2. These 2 are basically the bones. You can try moving them in your back and you'll feel them. So, This inward protrusion means that the arms are folding towards the back. Outward protrusions mean the exact opposite. And yes, so it can be like this or it can be like this, something like that. And the next thing is in the lower part of the back, from the middle of the spine, the fats usually roll down to the front. They roll down. That's very important. And that is what Michelangelo is depicting here. So from the back, the fats and the muscle, they roll down. And for the buttocks, he just draws two squares and shades the inside parts of them. It's literally that simple. For the back part of the leg, Michelangelo depicts it with two shadings. Why does he use two? Why not one? You might be thinking. And the answer to that is the first one, I believe, is for this thingy, abductor muscle, and the second one is for the glutes and the hamstrings. So that's what I think it is. These three things are the main differences I found, and the spine line is somewhat of a clean line that's not very oversold. It's just there. It's there. And for the representation of the top thingy, we call that lats in the gym, don't we? No, lats are this. Traps. Yeah. These are the trapezius muscle, and he depicts them with this light shade. So he doesn't really oversell anything, but he doesn't undersell them either. And this is what I learned from Michelangelo's back. That sounds very wrong to say, but you get the context right. Yeah. So that was about it. Hey, I know it was a pretty long video, but I would like to take this moment right now to appreciate your patience and your commitment to learn. If you watch this video as a whole, through your dedication, I can probably say that whatever you came here to learn this to apply to something else, comic art, illustration, animation, I hope you do that very successfully. And in this channel, you'll find a lot of other resources that will help you as well, such as other tutorials from other masters, such as Carl's Dalmav, Hirahiko Araki, and if you really like this sort of stuff, I have a lot of it in this channel. So all I'm saying is take a look and push some buttons, and you know what buttons I mean. Yeah, the subscribe button and the bell icon and the like button. So hit the comment section up if you got any opinions. And that's about it for this video. It was a pretty long one, and I appreciate your effort watching through it. Here's a bro fist appreciating that. Bro fist.